Hello everyone, this is Asra Sultana, Assistant Professor in Triple Department, working in ISL Engineering College. I am taking the subject High Voltage DC Transmission for Triple Final Year students. So in today's class, we are going to see the detailed analysis of converters. So assumptions of constant DC current and constant sinusoidal voltages at the AC bus will be relaxed. Analysis takes into account impedances in both the AC and DC networks. So we are going to analyze here both VSC, voltage source converter, and triple C, that is capacitor commutated converter. Steady state solution of HVDC converter equation will be periodic. With linear network elements, equations will be also linear. So a method for obtaining fast steady state solution of the system equations for the general case will be dealt with the next session. So what is the outline of this method? The method is based on the following assumptions. What are the assumptions? First one is system is described by sets of linear differential equations and each set will be applicable for particular conduction pattern of the valves in bridge. Second assumption is AC system is symmetrical and source voltages are balanced. Third assumption is firing pulses are generated at equal intervals of time. Given the initial conditions and forcing functions, solution can be obtained analytically over each interval or subinterval. Solution will be periodic in steady state. Each period can be divided into P intervals, where P is the pulse number of the converter. Each interval in general can be divided into two subintervals, that is T lying between 0 and T1 and T lying between T1 and capital T1. Capital T1 will be T by T, T by P. T is the period of the AC voltage here. For example, a 6-pulse converter, the normal mode consists of 3 and 2 valve conduction with M equal to 2. Derivation of steady state solution proceeds from first computing T1 from a non-linear equation of the form f of T1 equal to 0. Once this T1 is obtained, initial conditions can be calculated from sets of linear algebraic equations. These equations will be derived from boundary conditions and symmetry considerations. In general, following constants apply in determining the boundary conditions. First one is magnetic fluxes and electric charges must be continuous functions of time. Second one is current in the outgoing valve is 0 at t equal to T1. Now let us see the analysis of a capacitor commutated converter. The configuration of a capacitor commutated converter is shown in the figure. Here, series capacitors are inserted between the converter transformer and the valve to aid commutation, particularly for inverter operation. Capacitor commutated converter will permit the operation of alpha close to 180 degrees and reduces the risk of commutation failures, particularly with long DC cables. The requirements of the reactive power at the converter are also reduced, which enable economic filters to be designed. The application of series capacitors to assist the commutation process has been investigated since the days of mercury arc valves. It was termed artificial or forced commutation. The first installation of capacitor commutated converter was at Garabi in South America. Major advantage of Triple C is the improvement of the extinction angle characteristics. The apparent extinction angle viewed from the converter AC bus can approach small or even negative values depending on the size of the series capacitor. The apparent extinction angle gamma APP is the margin angle, that is angle between the instant at which the valve turns off to the instant of the positive zero crossing of the sinusoidal commutation voltage. Actual margin angle will be higher because actual commutation voltage is the sum of commutation voltages due to the AC bus voltage and the series capacitor voltages. For example, if gamma APP is 2 degrees, actual value of margin angle can be 22 degrees. The reduction in gamma APP improves power factor and thus reduces the need for the shunt reactive power source, normally supplied by capacitors and AC filters. Firing angle alpha can approach 180 degrees without worrying about commutation failures. Voltages across series capacitors are related to DC current and thus the actual margin angle increases with the DC current. This is opposite of what happens in a conventional HVDC converter where the margin angle reduces with the DC current. So the characteristics of C is very favorable for reducing the incidences of commutation failures. Sudden decrease in commutation voltage at the inverter results in the increase of DC current. If the DC line is a cable, overcurrent is also due to the sudden discharge of the cable which cannot be controlled by the current controller at the rectifier. A typical variation of actual margin angle gamma with ID for a constant value of gamma APP, that is 2 degrees, is shown in the figure. So here x-axis we are taking ID in kiloamps, y-axis we are taking gamma, and gamma APP is 2 degrees, we are taking the constant value. With weak AC systems connected to an inverter, maximum power that can be supplied by the inverter can be lower than the rated power as SCR is reduced. So maximum available power can be increased due to the series capacitors. So triple C will improve the performance of a HVDC link connected to weak AC systems. Load rejection over voltages are also reduced with triple C. Let us see the drawbacks of capacitor commutator converter. First one is increase in the converter valve voltage stress due to the voltage is across the series capacitors. Second one is increase in the magnitude of AC harmonics as the overlap angle is reduced for a specified DC current. However, size of the AC filters can be reduced as they don't have to supply negative power at fundamental frequency. It is possible to use active filters to filter the harmonics instead of using passive filters, which can be problematic. Let us see the simplified analysis of capacitor commutator converter. Analysis is aimed at obtaining waveforms and relationships in steady state operation of triple C. Following assumptions are made to simplify the analysis. First one is DC current ID is constant. Second one, source voltages at the converter bus are sinusoidal and balanced. Third one, firing angle are equidistant and the firing angle alpha is constant. Fourth one, overlap angle U is less than 60 degrees and thus the operation of 6 pulse converter is 3-2 valve conduction. Fifth one, losses are neglected. There is no loss of generality in considering the time t equal to 0 at the instant when valve 3 is fired. Since the DC current is already flowing in valve 1, capacitor in series with valve 1 is charged with voltage polarity as it is shown in the figure. This voltage continues to increase as the valve current continues to flow during the overlap period until I1 becomes 0. On the other hand, voltage across the capacitor in series with valve 3 is negative maximum before t equal to 0 and starts to decrease as the valve current continues to increase. At omega t is equal to u, current in valve 1 I1 is 0 and current in valve 3 I3 is ID. Current in valve 3 will remain constant during the interval omega t lying between u and 2 pi by 3. Capacitor voltage continues to increase with positive polarity when valve Y is fired and until the current I3 becomes 0. So from symmetry consideration, negative and positive peaks of the capacitor voltages will be equal and identical in each phase. And in general, it can be said that capacitor voltages are constants when the currents through them are 0 and increases from negative peak to positive peak when the valves in the upper group will conduct. So during the conduction of the valves in the lower group, capacitor voltages will decrease from positive peak to negative peak. Expression for valve currents in the circuit as shown in the figure can be obtained by superposition of the two responses. One is due to ID and another due to AC voltage and capacitor charges. So expression for valve currents are I1 equal to I11 plus I12, that is minus I plus ID by 2, and I3 equal to I31 plus I32, that is equal to I plus ID by 2. Current I is due to the AC voltage EBA, that is equal to root 2 ELL sin omega t plus alpha, and the capacitor charges at t equal to 0. Capacitor voltage at t equal to 0 is VCA is equal to Vm minus delta V1, and VCB is equal to minus Vm, where Vm is the peak voltage across the capacitors. Expression for current I can be obtained as I of t is root 2 ELL by 2 XC minus XL cos omega t plus alpha plus A cos omega n t plus B sin omega n t. XC is here 1 by omega C, XL is omega L, omega n is 1 by root LC. Constants A and B can be obtained from the boundary conditions on I3 and VCB, namely I3 equal to 0 at omega t is equal to 0, I3 equal to ID at omega t is equal to U, and VCB is minus Vm at omega t equal to 0. So, however, it should be noted that both Vm and U are unknown, but it can be shown that Vm is independent of U and it is linearly proportional to ID. Voltage across capacitor connected in phase B, VCB at omega t equal to U is given by VCB is equal to delta V2 minus Vm, where delta V2 is defined by delta V2 is 1 by omega C integral 0 to U 1 plus I plus ID by 2 into d omega t. Value of VCB at omega t is 2 pi by 3 is given as delta V2 minus Vm plus 1 by omega C integral U to U 2 pi by 3 ID omega t. So we are going to get the value of VCB at omega t is equal to 2 pi by 3 as delta V2 minus Vm plus ID by omega C 2 pi by 3 minus U. At omega t is equal to 2 pi by 3 plus U, VCB is given as delta V2 minus Vm plus ID by omega C 2 pi by 3 minus U plus integral 2 pi by 3 to 2 pi by 3 plus U minus I plus ID by 2 d omega t. So by symmetry, current in valve 3 when valve 5 is wired, when valve 5 is fired is identical to the current in valve 1 when valve 3 is fired during the overlap period. So last term in the RHS of the array equation is same as delta V1, and we obtain VCB at 2 pi by 3 plus U as delta V2 minus Vm plus ID by omega C into 2 pi by 3 minus U plus delta V1. So again from symmetry LHS is equal to Vm, and it can be observed that delta V1 plus delta V2 is 1 by omega C integral 0 to U ID d omega t, that is ID into U by omega C. And after substitution of the equations, we are going to get the value of Vm as pi 3 ID into omega C. So this is the waveform of IB and VCB. Waveform of VCB over a cycle is shown here, which also shows the waveform of IB, that is current in phase B. Here the overlap angles are neglected. Neglecting overlap angles, capacitor voltage waveform is a trapezoidal waveform which increases from 0 to Vm in 60 degrees, remains constant for 60 degrees and reduces to 0 in another 60 degrees in a half cycle. Peak value of fundamental component of capacitor voltage Vc1 is obtained as Vc1 is equal to 4 by pi integral 0 to pi by 2 Vc omega t sin omega t d omega t. So this is in the form of integral uv. So integral uv can be written as u integral v plus v integral u. That is 4 by pi 3 by 4 by pi into 3 by pi Vm integral 0 to pi by 3 theta sin theta d theta plus Vm integral pi by 3 to pi by 2 sin theta d theta. That is equal to 6 root 3 by pi square Vm, that is 1.1 Vm. So it can be observed that capacitor voltage lags the current by 90 degrees, and this is true for all the three phases. For phase B, IB1 is equal to 2 root 3 by pi ID into sin omega t plus 30 degrees, and VCB1 is equal to 1.1 Vm sin omega t minus 60 degrees. So VCA1 leads VCB1 by 120 degrees, and it is given by VCA1 equal to 1.1 Vm sin omega t plus 60 degrees. In addition to the commutation voltage of root 2 ELL sin omega t plus alpha due to the supply voltages, capacitors in the two phases, that is A and B, introduce additional commutation voltage of VCA and VCB, that is VCA minus VCB, which is equal to root 3 into 1.1 Vm cos omega t. So this voltage is at highest value when a valve is fired and it is independent of the firing angle. However, the need for resisting commutation is more in the inverter operation as alpha tends to 180 degrees. So it can be shown that average DC voltage of triple C is given by Vd equal to 3 root 2 ELL by 2 pi into cos alpha plus cos of alpha plus u plus pi by 3 minus 3u by 4 into delta V2 minus delta V1. So this is the analysis of triple C. Capacitor commutated converter, and or we can say simplified analysis of capacitor commutated converter. Next we are going to see the analysis of a voltage source converter. A voltage source converter based HVDC converter is similar to static compensator, that is STATCOM, a shunt connected FACS controller. So we consider here three-phase VSC using 6 switches made up of 6 GTO or IGBTs with anti-parallel diodes connected as a 6-pulse Grade's bridge. So following assumptions will be made in the analysis. Supply voltages are sinusoidal and balanced, and they will contain only fundamental frequency positive sequence components. Second one, losses in the switches are ignored and the switches are assumed to be ideal. Third one, inductance and the resistance are the parameters of the series reactor connected between the supply and the VSC, or represent the leakage reactance and the ohmic losses of the interfacing transformer. G represents the losses in the DC capacitor, and VSC is shown in the figure here. VSC is shown in the figure, and it is described by the following differential equations. L dia by dt plus RIA is equal to VA minus VE. L dIB by dt plus RIB equal to VB minus EB. L diC by dt plus RIC equal to VC minus EC. C dVC by dt plus G VCD VDC is equal to IDC, where EA, EB and EC are the output voltages of the VSC. All the voltages are with reference to the source neutral N. We can express the voltages injected by VSC as EA of T equal to SA of T, VDC of T and EB of T as SB of T, VDC of T, EC of T as SC of T and VDC of T. This is the diagram showing the switching function for 6 pulse VSC. Now, in this equation of EA of T, EB of T and EC of T, SA, SB and SC are the switching functions without any modulation. For square wave operation, they are periodic in steady state and they are shown in the figure. From the principle of energy conservation, we get VDC of T into IDC of T equal to E of T, IA of T plus EB of T, IEB of T plus EC of T, IC of T. So from these two equations, that is this equation VD of T, IDC of T, and this equation, and this EA of T equal to SA of T, VDC of T. From these two equations, we can derive IDC of T as SA of T, IA of T, SB of T, IB of T, SC of T, IC of T. Switching functions in steady state are related by SC of omega t equal to SB omega t plus 120 degrees, that is SC omega t plus 240 degrees. So if the switching functions are approximated by the fundamental frequency components only, then we can obtain for a two-level converter EA, EB and EB. EA is mVDC 2 by pi sine omega naught t plus theta plus alpha. EB is equal to approximately equal to mVDC 2 by pi sine omega naught t plus theta plus alpha minus 4 pi by 3. M is the modulation index here. In deriving the above equation, we have assumed that injected voltages lead the source voltages by an angle alpha, which can be controlled. Theta is the angle of the source voltage whose line-to-line magnitude is Vs, and we can express Va of t as Va of t equal to 2 root of 2 by 3 Vs sine omega naught t plus theta. Expression for Vb of t and Vc of t are obtained from the fact that source voltages are balanced and will contain only positive sequence components. System frequency is assumed to be omega naught and constant or varies very slowly. Equations in dq reference frame. The voltage and current in the AC circuit can be transformed to a synchronously rotating reference frame by Cron's transformation defined by FABC equal to CKF dQO, where FABC can be voltage or current vector defined by FABC is FABFC transpose. Similarly, FDQO equal to FDFQFO transpose. CK is the transformation matrix which is defined by CK equal to root 2 by 3 cos omega naught t sin omega naught t 1 by root 2 cos omega naught t minus 2 pi by 3 sin omega naught t minus 2 pi by 3 1 by root 2 cos omega naught t plus 2 by 3 sin omega naught t plus 2 by 3 1 by root 2. Subscript O indicates zero sequence variable. CK is an orthogonal matrix with the property of CK inverse is equal to CK transpose. Advantage of above is that transformation is power invariant. So we can derive VA IA plus VB IB plus VC IC as VD ID plus VQ IQ plus VO IO. By applying Cron's transformation, we can derive the circuit equations in dq variables as follows. That is L dID by dt plus R ID plus omega naught L IQ equal to VD minus MK sine alpha plus theta VDC. And finally, we are going to get the value of C dVc by dt plus G VDC equal to MK sine alpha plus theta ID plus cos alpha plus theta into IQ, where K is root 6 by pi for a two-level converter. M is the modulation index that can vary from 0 to 1, and zero sequence current is 0 as IA plus IB plus IC is equal to 0. Let us see what are the remarks. In a high power VSC with GTO thyristor switches, which is turned on and off only once in a cycle to minimize switching losses. Here M is a constant that is equal to 1. Magnitude of the injected voltage can be controlled by pulse width modulation PWM technique. There are many variations in pulse width modulation. Pulse width modulation converters require several switchings in a cycle. In a STATCOM with an energy source on the DC side, it is advisable to control both the magnitude and phase angle of the injected voltage by VSC in order to control the power and reactive power output. It is possible to express equations 7 and 8, these two equations, in terms of current and voltage phasors. By multiplying equation 7 by J on both sides and adding to equation 8, we will get L di by dt plus R into J omega L I equal to V minus E, where I equal to IQ plus J ID and V equal to VQ plus J VD. And E equal to MK VDC angle theta plus alpha. So this is the equivalent circuit and phasor diagram of a STATCOM. The equation 3.90, that is L di by dt plus R plus J omega naught L into I equal to V minus E, represents the simple circuit as shown in the figure. Phasor diagram is also shown. So note that since VD and VQ are the components of the dynamic phasor, they become constants in steady state. corresponding to an operating point, and generally we use uppercase to denote phases. On the other hand, DQ components are also instantaneous values. Thus, to simplify the notation, we will use both lower and uppercase symbols interchangeably. Fourth point, for type 2 converters, elimination of voltage harmonics requires multi-pulse configuration of VSC. 12 pulse operation can be arranged with two 6 pulse converter bridges connected in series on the AC side and in parallel on the DC side. Output voltages of the two converters are summed up by a summing transformer or an interface magnetics. For connection to high voltage AC lines, it is necessary to use coupling transformer as in the case of a SVC. Fifth point, for a VSC based HVDC converter, PWM is invariably used with 2 or 3 level VSC to control the magnitude of the injected voltage while regulating the DC bus voltage. It is convenient to express the injected voltage phasor as E is equal to M EA0 angle theta plus alpha. EA0 is K VDC, where M is the normalized modulation index and M equal to 1 indicates square wave operation. For a 3 level or 12 bus converter, K equal to 2 root 6 by pi. VSC based HVDC converters are invariably type 1 converters with control over both the magnitude and phase angle of the injected voltage. So this implies that both the power and the reactive power, that is P and Q, supplied by the converter can be controlled within limits. The typical operating region ABCD in the PQ plane is shown in the figure. Here the lines AB and CD are due to the maximum DC power that is carried by the HVDC cable due to the upper limit on the DC current. BC is part of a circle due to the maximum current limit through IGBT valves. DA represents limitation on the injected reactive power due to the maximum DC voltage across the capacitor. The reactive power capability is a function of the AC bus voltage and it will increase with decreasing AC voltage. This is a desirable characteristic from the stability point of view. The capability curves of a VSC are similar to that of a synchronous generator. Maximum DC voltage limitation in a VSC will correspond to the maximum field current limitation in a generator, while IGBT current corresponds to the armature current. However, unlike in a DC generator, VSC can shift its operating point practically instantaneously. HVDC cable based on XLPE technology can handle fast current reversal required to reverse the power flow in the cable. So in a VSC based HVDC system, power reversal will not require the reversal of the DC voltage, which requires some time delay to accomplish. Thank you, students. I hope everyone understood today's class. So with this, we have done with the second unit. In the next class, I will start the third unit, that is control of converter and HVDC system control. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, students. I hope today's class is clear to everyone. So for both combined first and second unit, we have seen about the DC power transmission technology, that is introduction. We have seen comparison of AC and DC transmission, economics of power transmission, technical performance, reliability, application of DC transmission, description of DC transmission system. Then in that we have seen types of DC links, converter station. Next we have seen planning for HVDC transmission and modern trends in HVDC technology. So this was all part of first unit. Okay, first unit was DC power transmission technology. So second unit was line commutated and voltage source converters. And analysis of HVDC converters. Okay, these two chapters will come under second unit. So line commutated and voltage source converters, there we have seen introduction. Then we have seen line commutated converter, analysis of Grade's bridge, neglecting overlap, choice of converter configuration for any pulse number, analysis of 12 pulse converter, effect of finite smoothing reactor. Then voltage source converter we have seen, basic 2-level converter, 3-level voltage source converter, pulse width modulation we have seen. Then Analysis of HVDC converters. In that we have seen introduction part, then analysis of line commutated converter, LCC bridge characteristics, characteristics of 12 pulse converter. Okay, this was till yesterday's class. Okay, then today's class we have seen about detailed analysis of converters. In that we have seen capacitor commutated converter and analysis of a voltage source converter. So with this, second unit is over, students. So next class will be converter and HVDC system control. So we are going to see in that principles of DC link control, converter control characteristics, system control hierarchy, firing angle control, current and extinction angle control, starting and stopping of DC link, power control, higher level controllers, etc. Okay. Okay, students, I hope first and second unit are clear to everyone. So next tomorrow's class I will start the third unit. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, students. Thank you everyone for watching the video.